was asking, women are underrepresented in research. Is generative AI going to be helpful in providing sex aggregated targets?
So it's two different questions in one question, right? Because, the answer is yes, females are underrepresented in research. It's a historical fact, but it's improving very rapidly. As a matter of fact, we just looked at the delegates of the ARDD, the 10th ARDD, and almost half are females. So, which is really cool. And, speakers also, it's kind of almost 50-50, which is, again, really cool. It's maybe one, and we do not try to do any, positive discrimination. It's natural. So in this field, you just have abundance of very smart, talented females. In many other fields, I guess networking and this kind of big boy clubs matter more, but in longevity, it's a very equal opportunity. And we actually encourage females to get into the field. In terms of the gender-associated, sex-associated targets, there is, of course, huge difference between how females and males age. Again, the difference in lifespan is relatively marginal, depending on how you call, 5-6 years sometimes in many countries. And by the way, if you look at the overall scale, right, those 5-6 years, if you are talking about half of the global population, it's a lot of life years. So males die earlier, and it looks like females start aging earlier, but males age faster. And of course, female reproductive system ages also much, much faster. That's we know that there is a concept of menopause, and at some point in time, the reproductive processes just shut down. And there are many targets at this point in time that are being explored for menopause and postponing menopause. And I think that it's a very, very promising area of research, because you could actually, again, develop something that is dual purpose. Menopause, some people consider it to be natural, but some find it very inconvenient, and they would like to continue with the normal biological processes. And there are multiple companies that are pursuing very different approaches for kind of restoring and reviving the reproductive function, or maintaining it for a longer time. For that, you could use a pharmacological approach that is targeted, or even regenerative medicine approaches, or a combination of both. In terms of targets, there are many targets that are sex-specific, but work in a similar way in both sexes. For example, my favorite target, if I were to name just one, would be TOR, right? Target of rapamycin, and rapamycin would probably be the most interesting drug to study nowadays, because you've got ample evidence for very, very, very for longevity in multiple species, and you've got reasonably well understood toxicity profile, so you know what to expect. We don't know how it works and why it works in aging. I mean, there are multiple theories, but even after 20 years, people do not understand it very well. But if I were to prioritize just one drug that would work on both sexes, I would look at rapamycin for research. Currently not for clinical application, even though many of the people in our community already started taking the drug.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alex. I see another question from Migla Tomkujana. What a great job you're doing. I wanted to ask if your robots are checking substances one by one, or do you also test combinations? Because I think we will not find any one drug for anti-aging. There will have to be complex treatment.
Yes, of course, we test combos. It's just usually you test those combos with already approved drugs, or something that is currently in the clinical trials. because otherwise it's just too expensive to do all kinds of combos. And we also first do single agent, and then knowing the response to a single agent treatment, we decide on the combination. So, and sometimes the algorithm does it automatically.
Thank you. US is asking, what is the metaphysical aspect of living up to 150?
I don't know. What is the metaphysical aspect of living to 30? You've already reproduced and taken care of your young, right? So I think that people naturally strive to live longer. Otherwise, you probably would have, you could seek to die before 40, right? Because at that time you could reproduce already several times.
Thank you for sharing this. And I know you're scientists, not really magicians. But if I would ask you to like dream a little bit, close your eyes and dream a little bit about our future in the longevity medicine, from the longevity medicine perspective, what does this future hold for us? Will we have humans, have robots? Will we be using, supplements every day to, boost our optimal, performance? Like, what is the future? Let's see the nearest.
Well, let's get Yeva to answer from her perspective, and I guess it's going to be near term. And I can dream a little bit further in this case, right? Because the doctors have to operate within the toolkit that they can operate with.
Right, that is correct. So I'm a dreamer for a little bit of a shorter perspective, but I appreciate and I'm always very open and happy that there are people who dream further and actually then make the dreams come true. But for me as a clinician right now, I think the dream for the next decade to 3 is to have real good senolytics and xenomorphics and more good germ protectors that we can safely apply in the clinic without an overload of burdensome, unnecessary, I don't say, like those part of administration and ethical debates that are unnecessary. Those that are necessary should, of course, be there. And another dream of mine is, of course, to have better accessibility to healthy longevity diagnostics and therapeutics, also in the field of sick care that we know from now, right? So it should be that every patient, also those who already are suffering, not only from the stable chronic diseases, but those who have even, active cancer or they're just being diagnosed, they should also be included in the healthy longevity programs that will maybe allow them to better manage their diseases. So as a clinician, I wish also, of course, that more physicians will know and have the opportunity to learn and to be educated in healthy longevity medicine. This is why also Longevity Education Hub was created, right? The CME certified courses, and hopefully we will be able to expand it drastically also to universities and have healthy longevity medicine as a discipline and as a part of a curriculum for medical students, so that they can immediately apply the knowledge when they get out of the studies and be more engaged and more embracing to the long-term dreams of healthy longevity medicine.
Thank you very much, Professor Evelyne. Dr. Alex, do you want to add something?
Sure. Well, I think that, again, if the future is peaceful, and we should all strive to, make every effort to make it more peaceful, even, transforming our mindset. Because if you don't like somebody, if you, express too much negativity, it will propagate and you're going to contribute to the overall very negative scenario for the world. So it's better to think about, the world in positive terms. So if we see the future where we have relative peace, most likely we're going to see major advances in regenerative medicine. So again, pharma is a very important tool for us to understand human biology, perturb human biology, explore new ways to discover drugs, but it's not going to help you much, right? So we need to think further. And of course, the future holds great potential for brain-to-computer interfaces, right? So if you were to bet on just one technology that will dramatically change your life beyond recognition, brain-to-computer interfaces, invasive brain-to-computer interfaces would be the first frontier, right? And we've seen that, even Elon Musk went into that direction and already started innovating at the level of Elon. So you shouldn't expect a dramatic slowdown in this field because a lot of people realized the potential and started copying. If you have an invasive brain-to-computer interface that even does monitoring, you can study CNS diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and many others at a completely new level with real-time feedback. And I think this technology is going to progress quite dramatically and change our lives. At the same time, human organ engineering and kind of biocompatible materials, so organ replacement technologies will also dramatically improve our lives because one approach to making your car go for a very long time is good maintenance or, repainting or repairing something. But another great approach is replacement. So why not just replace a bunch of organs? Or maybe, most of the organs once in a while, right? And if you figure out a way to get to the point where you can engineer and grow those organs ex vivo or in vivo, but in something that is not human, you might be able to significantly extend your life, right? And youth. So I think the future is going to be a combination of both. And of course, with the first technology, there is a little bit of a risk of loss of individuality because imagine the world where your thoughts can be potentially hacked and read, including your memories. So good idea not to do anything stupid and criminal right now, because it will be very well known, even don't think bad things, if you are preparing for a long and bright future. But I think that will give you additional capacity, and you might actually augment your limited processing function with AI. And I think that quantum computing is going to be a huge thing within the next 5 years. Remember my words again, if we have relative peace, including no dramatic economic wars, and I think that quantum is already in some areas you can see proof of concept. Next few years you're going to see dramatic rollout of quantum computing systems.
Thank you very much. And I know we will have to let you go in a little bit. Last question. You've mentioned, software development and innovation in the tech field. We have a software engineer who asked a question on, what to do in order to be part of the change, right? What should they do in order to be part of it? What maybe small, tiny little steps they could make right now?
Well, everybody can make a huge step right now. And, whatever you can do for peace, you need to focus on that, because I think that that's the major risk for all of us. So if you think that AI is a risk, well, possibly. Climate change, possibly. But the biggest near-term risk is just very basic geopolitical security, because you see what happened when Russia invaded Ukraine, right? I mean, right now, somebody can just push a button and all the efforts are going to go to waste, right? We will need to look for food and shelter. But the same is true for, economic wars nowadays, right? So for some strange reason, the Western society is trying to fight with China and Asia in general, right? Nobody's yet prioritized Indonesia, for example, for an economic war. But by the way, that's another economy which is very rapidly growing. And I think that right now, if people were to collaborate and put aside the differences and try to find new ways for more cultural understanding, the world would be growing much faster and better, right? And we need that for drug discovery and development. So whatever you do, just focus on peace. If you really want to contribute intellectually to specifically longevity, you need to get educated, right? If you don't have a PhD in this industry, usually you are not going to be welcome at many gatherings and events, because here, if you don't have a few published papers, well, then you need to be rich and try to contribute financially, go into venture capital, or go into business development. But it's extremely important to understand the field, right? So go to scientific conferences, read the books about drug discovery, read some more classical books like, Billion Dollar Molecule, or there is one recent one for Blood and Money on, Siddhartha Mukherjee's Short History of Cancer, just to understand how the industry works a little bit in kind of plain vanilla terms, because most people think that they can, help significantly, and as a matter of fact, they don't. They just distract other people.
Thank you very much. And I want to be mindful of your time, Dr. Alex. I know we'll have to let you go. If you'll have a couple more minutes, please hang out if you'll have to go. We know how precious your time is. But thank you very much for showing us your lab, for showing, us the secrets of the work that you're doing. None of us signed an NDA, so your secrets might not be as protected, but it is what it is. Thank you once again, Dr. Alex. It's been a pleasure. I hope this is not the last time, because we have quite a few questions in our back channels. So I hope more Professor Evelyne will get a chance to answer some of them.
Perfect. And sign up for the longevity medicine course. Free, many hours, CME accredited, not only for doctors. And follow Dr. Evelyne on social networks. She's pretty active.
Thank you very much, and I 100% agree. Great course. I took the course, and now I'm a tiny little part of it as well on the back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. So that being said, Professor Evelyne, she got herself into trouble because we still have quite a few questions in our back channel. But the next question would be, at present, it appears that different longevity clinics seem to offer different measurements of aging, interventions, and recommendations. Is there a plan to set up what would be seen as an ideal setup, the most evidence, and latest recommendation? Question from Thomas.
Mm-hmm. Right, it's a great question, right? Longevity medicine is already present in specific clinics, has been present already for a while, right? If we look at human longevity, for example, and their 10 plus years experience, and different clinics that are now also being developed. Also, by the way, longevity departments in public university hospitals that are being built, which is a great development, I believe, are using different measurements of aging and also different types of interventions. Most of those are still focused and centered around lifestyle management, but in a very well-defined way and also in a very well-monitored way. And the recommendations also vary, and mostly these are I would say, a multidisciplinary product. So longevity protocol based on multidisciplinary suggestions from different specialists that are also enlarging their knowledge with longevity medicine. So you would find endocrinologists and psychiatrists. Internal medicine doctors are kind of a backbone for those clinics, but you will also find some other specialties, and of course therapists and other healthcare professionals. Is there a plan to set up what would be like an ideal setup? I don't think that, number one, in medicine we are trying to look for an ideal thing, because different countries, different populations, and also different layers of society will have different demands. So I guess we should look for something that is very resilient and also adjustable, just like the heart rate variability. But there is, of course, an idea and an effort already to create recommendations and guidelines, quality control, and certification type of society that is leading the field. So we would like to, of course, have healthy longevity medicine being as a discipline positioned either under internal medicine or next to other disciplines. So next to cardiology, oncology, there will be healthy longevity medicine. And if that happens, healthy longevity medicine needs to have a standard, just like we have guidelines in oncology or in other fields. We have clear guidelines. We have different layers, of course, of those recommendations and guidelines, but we have those. And there are now societies, or there's even a global society of healthy longevity medicine that is working on development of those guidelines, starting with recommendations and also of quality control checking for example, some of those longevity clinics, and also certification of longevity physicians, because we still do not have a label as such, right? As a longevity physician, you cannot exactly be specialized in longevity medicine and have a specialty title, but hopefully that is a close future. So yes, there is an ideal of having longevity medicine as a credible discipline with all the setup for interventions, measurements in form of guidelines and recommendations or binding for physicians. And whatever would be a deviation would be done either compassionate use or simply a breach of care. Yeah.
Thank you very much, and I look forward to having and seeing actual physicians, medical professionals who would be an actual vertical within the healthcare field, an official one and a credible one within the longevity field. With that being said, we have another question from a physician, from Dr. Alex from Philippines, and he's asking about stem cells for longevity.
Right. So stem cells are of course important, just as stem cell niches, so the places where stem cells are located and the interactions between those. Stem cells are important in longevity field from many aspects, but we have to remember that these are not the same approaches as we know from maybe some popular non-medical centers that are offering some of the treatments or have been offering for many years. So in medicine, we very seldom have a black and white situation, and we very seldom have 100% warranty. And in this case, it's also wrong to say that stem cells are not important for longevity medicine or for medicine in general. Of course they are. And they are very important for patients with blood cancers and others, right? Also for autoimmune diseases. But they are also very important for longevity. However, how we will approach them and how we will use them and what will be the interventions to actually modify them or modulate them, or maybe even increase their numbers or just increase their performance in the body will be very different to what we have right now. And hopefully they will be a part of the interventions. So very good research that can be followed, very recommended. I think one of the pioneers here, or the leaders, is Professor Thomas Randall, previously from Stanford, now from UCLA, where he's working on stem cells in terms of communication between each other, and also parabiosis and other related fields. So I would say stem cells, yes, but we are at best here in the level of basic science and some translational research that is ongoing.
Thank you very much, Professor Evelyne. And you're also a founder, a leader of the Longevity Day, and also you're part of the Longevity Education Hub. Why are you doing this, and what is it for?
Thank you so much. I'm first of all, I'm extremely lucky and honored to co-organize and to host and to moderate the Longevity Medicine Day at the ERDD, so the largest conference in aging. And we've done this for the past 3 years, since COVID. And I think the main reason here is really to give the opportunity for the participants online and offline, and also for the speakers who are engaged very often also in basic research, but also in translational research, and many of them are MDs that are or have been actively practicing, to also tell us about how they see the translation to the clinic. That has been something that we were discussing 3 years ago, and now we are actually discussing how the transition has been taking place and is taking place and what's new. So to give an aspect, more clinical aspect to the aging research conference, more in terms of longevity medicine. But at the same time, yes, I'm also involved in Longevity Education Hub, as we call it right now. It started with just longevity medicine course, and the beginning longevity medicine course for physicians, but Dr. Alex said it was not meant only to be for physicians, but it was kind of the first curriculum that was tailored for physicians. So hopefully in a language that physicians can absorb in a more easy way than the basic science or bioinformaticians or AI computational science colleagues. And this developed to a large network. Yes, Amit, you are a very important part of the network, and many other volunteers that we have. The main initiator was Dr. Alex in 2020 around the COVID time. And here the main motivation was to bring more physicians into the field. Because even myself, when I was entering the field as a clinician, I didn't know that much about it. And about many things I didn't know at all, right? So the AI part of longevity medicine was not familiar to me. Therefore, we wanted to give the physicians the opportunity to learn, to get even accreditation as a CME by AMAA, so American Medical Association. And it's still, after all those years, the only CME accredited course. So it is credible. It is also giving us as a course or as a longevity education hub a feedback, right, from the main certification body in the world that it is a good course. And beyond bringing more physicians into the field, we also, of course, want to give everyone the opportunity to learn from a credible source for free, and also to build up a community, right? So those who completed the course, they are being informed within the newsletters and networks. And this leads very often to very good connections where physicians can discuss between each other what is going on, even get some advice, right? We have some examples where physicians took the course and then had a better motivation and a better guidance in opening their own longevity practices or implementing longevity medicine into their GP practice. So these are all wonderful developments, and to be in touch, then we have now 5,000 plus students, right? So 5,000 plus physicians that took the course. It's a huge community. Therefore, I guess those are the main points. Being passionate about education and about spreading good content is the reason why Longevity Medicine Day is there and why Longevity Education Hub is in place. All right, I think Amita is back. Yes.
Yes, thank you very much. And maybe a last couple of questions because we're quite a bit of time, and I see people, they don't want to go, they don't want to leave. We still have questions coming in. There's Raluca Pradhan just mentioned that we will need protocols for longevity for different pathologies and also for people who want to start prevention program. Thank you. And maybe before we go, as I said, a couple of last questions. What is clinical precision diagnostics? Could you give us a couple of examples, and how could clinical precision diagnostics help us with, reaching out and maybe even extending our optimal performance?
Sure, with pleasure. So clinical precision diagnostics has a lot of components, but basically it's like optimally building a digital twin of a person. So you would want to map that person's omics. You would want to map this person's top level imaging, MRI, CT based. You would want to map this person's psychoneurological status. You would want to map as many functional tests as possible from those that are related to longevity, like the 6 minutes walking test, up to some more advanced ones, like, for example, very advanced balance testing. You would want to have optimally also advanced methodologies of biological age mapping, right? So using as many biological aging clocks as possible, those that are well described and usable. And on top of all that, you would want to also not forget the cognitive part, right? So you want to have good cognitive testing, and there are very good ones right now that are online assisted, and the subjective, so also the mental health.
Thank you very much. Maybe there's something that we didn't get a chance to ask you that maybe is important for everybody to know. We have here, clinicians. We have here, medical professionals, people in healthcare, and also, people who are not related to healthcare at all. So maybe there are some final thoughts that you could share with all of us before we close this conversation down.
Sure, with pleasure. So I think, first of all, thank you everybody who joined. And for staying really over time with us. That's a great thing. And I would say longevity medicine, healthy longevity medicine is so extremely multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary that everybody should get involved in one way or another. Everybody is an asset. And also everybody is kind of a patient if we consider aging as a disease. Well, we all suffer from it still. And maybe at some point of time, we will be able to manage that disease much better and decelerate it. And another thing is try to, educate yourself. Dr. Alex mentioned this as well. There are many, many good literature points that are out there. On our Longevity Education Hub, you have recommended literature, so you might want to have a glimpse there. Also on the ARDD website, and surely also on many others. And watch out for news, right? Try to keep updated for what is going on in the field that is progressing really at an extremely, extremely high pace.
Thank you very much, Professor Evelyne. Thank you very much to every single person who joined us today. You were great. A lot of private messages, a lot of questions. I see that we have people from all around the globe who joined, and wanted to be part of this conversation, not only a passive one, but also an active one. And, who doesn't want to live forever? Who doesn't want to, maybe not forever, as we discussed before. The death is inevitable, but at least, to have a healthier and longer life, everybody wants to do that. I very much recommend, as Krishna has mentioned, to follow the speakers. They are the leaders in the field, and I've learned a lot from both of them personally. With that being said, I'll pass on the mic to Krishna because I guess we have to keep some secrets for the next conversation that hopefully we'll have. Thank you all.
Thank you, Amit. And definitely, as I said, the longevity topic is immense. It's huge. There's a lot of development happening here, so many conversations that we can have. And let's save some of the conversations for the future. And to the audience over here, if you would like to hear more about longevity and more in this space, please leave us a feedback and please tell us what in the longevity space that you would like to hear about or discuss about. And we will find the experts. Professor Evelyne can join us again. We need to find new speakers, new experts, and to find new information from different parts of the world and to find out what exactly is going on and to finally find the answer, how can we live forever? And hopefully one day we can answer this question in our series. Until then, we wish you all a very pleasant day, evening, wherever you're joining from. Thank you all for making the time. And thank you, Professor Evelyne, Amit for organizing and hosting it, and Dr. Alex. It's been a great pleasure. And just have a nice day, everyone. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Visit community.eithealth.eu to join our community and shape the healthcare landscape with us. For more such videos, subscribe to our channel.